The Dog Girl. The family was all about animals. Horseradish and sharp mint sauce, beef cattle, fat lambs, large whites, those soft speciality Nubian goats, the dead pharaoh's headdress ears. Sometimes horses. She'd had a horse phase, but it did not last, for she was the dog girl, who walked the collies and cattle dogs as if pets who slept in worn wicker baskets by an aga after long walks and lolling. They were not, and as urgent tears never moved, warily, carefully she campaigned, even brought a beaten-down dog back, but it was a round-stomached, wormy thing with bent legs, and anyway, the owners, those red-haired girls from the bad home, came to collect it. At 12, as if the grandfather clock that stood at the turn of the dogleg staircase chimed magic, her puppy came as birthday gift. Pedigree, grey brindle, plate poor promise, the breed she'd dreamed. Biggest of all dogs, because they were a family who spoke with things. The dog was not sharp-tongued, and loved her best of anyone, which was the first time, and they moved as girl and giant shadow. Then a jealous brother. He was older, worked each hard day killing and cutting and dressing out, and so his voice was louder. The tiny terriers arrived, short hair and wire hair trouble scraps, and they were not so trainable, because a terrier is not a hound, it is something entirely other. They lived outside, puppies in straw, with her fine big dog, and then the short hair got sick. The dog girl knew that this sickness would spread, and her great dog with his grand grown bones and gentle eyes would get this plague that was merciless and new and had no remedy. That evening she made her brother bring it in the house, which was a never thing, and on a large meat tray the tiny terrier laid out, dying messily. The puppy had lost control, and even after she cleaned it up, because she was the girl who did not kill, it still smelt of death which was the blood tang they all knew. It was a little white thing that looked unborn again, slick and wet now she had washed it. She did not love it, and she wanted to wash herself all over before she went out to her great good dog. By 9 o'clock, she knew her brother would leave it to die. He named the plague as if he knew, said that nothing could be done, but she would not speak it, because that would make it certain. She went and changed the dog's straw, put the old out for burning. The family went through to their dark leather settees and laughter, but she stayed by the meat tray and looked round the kitchen, knowing the dog had to drink. It could not lift its funny little head and was breathing hard with its shoulders. It couldn't see. So she called who she always called, and her mother came. And her mother found a buried utensil in the back of a drawer, a fat pipette for gravy or dripping, that had a bulb that could suck water up, so she tried it, and lifted the funny head and dropped water into the little dog's mouth, and after a minute he was sick, and thus it continued all that night, which was a long night. Sat by a radiator on the tiled floor, she gave the little dog a little drop every 10 minutes, and sometimes he brought it back like it was not a good gift, but sometimes he did not, and he went from hot to cold, and she got mutton cloth after mutton cloth to wrap him in, so swaddled he looked like a wrapped ham, or the convent cast of Bow Your Head Baby Jesus. At midnight she laid a hand on his back, because she thought no dog should die alone, and the night went on, and her family said good night and thank God it was Friday, and all night she kept her hand on him, and then moved him to her lap and cradled him, sat on the hard floor beside the radiator in the dim kitchen, her eyes like teacups, her eyes like dinner plates. At light, he was still alive. The little dog recovered when they'd all said he would die, and he was never quite right, seemed a simple soul, which was not sad. He just wasn't engaged with people much, but he was a ratter, and when he was after vermin there really wasn't a dog like him. He was twisting flash white lightning teeth. He didn't love her more than anyone, or seem to remember what she did, but her great dog did, and that was enough.